Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cage Talk. Today, I have a MMA veteran, UFC veteran. We have Wilson Gouveia. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, man. Hi, everyone. Uh, Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Talking about the Brazilian fighters. Again, you have your shirt, American Top Team. I think you own one, correct?
Yes, I own one in Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Pembroke Pines, which is a really nice area. My sister used to live in there. Live in that area. I used to live in Miami back in the day, but now I live in Texas. But American Top Team, again, one of the top um, great camps, great MMA camps coming out of South Florida. South Florida has a lot of good growing uh, camps. I remember going to. I don't know if you remember. This was back maybe about 15 years ago. They had American Top Team in Doral. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
They had where it was Silva was the one, I think, that was.
Tiago, I think the Villa Fall brothers, right?
Yep.
Danilo and yes, yeah, they had a great camp there too.
And how long ago did you start that camp? Because I don't think they had it when I was there. Pembroke Pines one.
So are you talking about mine or are you talking about the
Yours.
So my first school, I think we started around 2007, 2008 when I was still active,
Okay.
fighting. And we moved to different locations. We tried to expand, and then we move around, but always in Pembroke Pines. That's our location. We always in Pembroke Pines. Now we're just a little bit west of the 75 by Imp Fitness, and we've been there since 2015. We have an incredible group of people. We really treat each one like family. And again, I'm very blessed to have my students. It's a family to me.
That's awesome, man. And obviously, we'll talk about your career in the UFC and in MMA in general. But you were born in Brazil, correct?
Yes, born and raised in Brazil. I left Brazil. I was 20 years old when I went to US around
Gotcha.
1999. Yeah, January 1999.
Nice. Now, growing up, how was it growing up in Brazil? Was there anything about Brazil that, again, we all know, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, was that something they teach when you were younger? Is that something, like in America, we always, it's all about football, American football. What about in Brazil? How was life growing up in Brazil?
So life in Brazil, as you can imagine, is very different than America, because over here we don't have middle class. You're very rich or you're very poor,
Okay.
right? But I can tell you, as a kid, you don't think too much about that.
Okay. Yeah.
So usually you have a lot. Yeah. So you have a lot of friends.
Mhm.
So I think I can say that I had a wonderful childhood with a bunch of friends. So I only got good memories about my childhood. And I found jiu-jitsu. I was about 15, maybe
Okay.
14, 15 years old. And I never stopped since.
And is that something normal that all the kids pretty much do, other than play soccer, is get into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, or it's kind of?
So back in the 90s,
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu was not very popular on my city, Fortaleza, Brazil, right? I remember the soccer always be very popular. Jiu-jitsu was mainly, in Rio and São Paulo, maybe. And Fortaleza was not very popular. Actually, when I signed up, I had to take 2 buses to go to the gym. It was very far from my area, and there was no jiu-jitsu area, no jiu-jitsu schools on my we call bairro, which is like an area. So
Okay.
there was no jiu-jitsu school. So I had to take 2 buses, to go to train. Yeah, it was far.
Jeez. So that's commitment right there. When you left to go to the United States, what was that purpose? Was it to, follow your, like, did you have an MMA career at that time? Were you, an amateur going, wanted to be in America, or was it just for a better life? Or?
Yes. So the purpose, the mainly purpose was like to have a like improvement, in my life, right? It was just like a 20-year-old kid. I was competing, I was training, but it was not much. I won all the tournaments that I was supposed to win over here. I won the state championship, a couple other small tournaments. Uh, but the main purpose was to go there and maybe find myself a better job. And like,
Mhm.
look, I was looking for the American dream, like anybody that goes through America. I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
I was a single guy. No attachments to nobody. I was, a very talented fighter. You know what? Let me go there and see what's going on. Let's see what happens. That was the main, that was the main purpose. But one thing I will tell you, man. Once I get to US, I was blessed to make a lot of good friends, and these people, they really helped me through my life in US and, helped me, to get what I got, eventually in my life and my career.
Now, when you first got to US, where'd you go? What was the first state that you went to?
Straight to
Oh,
Miami.
first
Never
Miami?
left South Florida. Straight to Miami.
Okay, so you've been in Florida for a long time then, that means, huh?
23 years old, yes.
Oh,
23 years. 23 years.
nice, nice. So while you were training, right? Were you an amateur fighter at that time, or you already went pro?
Amateur. So once I get there, we compete some small tournaments. I think
Mhm.
it was Naga, some state championships like jiu-jitsu tournaments, but nothing major. The first opportunity that I had to fight professionally was at the Hoking Shoot around 2001, right before the fight was supposed to be before the 9/11,
Mhm.
terrorist attacks. The 9/11 occurred, and they postponed the fight for like a month or 2 months after. I was right around there when that was my
Gotcha.
first fight.
Do you remember that fight at all?
I remember, man, every second. I remember, I remember because back in the day,
Uh-huh.
um, I was just a jiu-jitsu fighter. No
Okay.
striking, no boxing skills, no Muay Thai skills whatsoever.
Hmm.
So I remember that when I decided to fight, I rely only on my jiu-jitsu, skills,
Hmm.
and no takedowns, no wrestling, nothing. I remember when this guy came at me, throwing, punches. I literally closed my eyes and I dropped, hoping to grab a piece of body like a leg or something. That was funny, man. That was
Oh
like
wow.
eye-opening, experience.
Um, that's wild. That's wild. I think you finished that fight in the submission, right? I think that was the one. Is that what?
Yes, that was a submission. I was able to take him to the ground, and yeah, I was able to submit him. But I'll tell you, I consider I was in decent shape
Hmm.
for the fight, but with the I won't say the pressure, but the adrenaline was so different, that I found myself gassed out like right before the fight. Like a minute or two of the fight, I was completely exhausted. That's how much the adrenaline pumps into your body, and you just you gas out real quick, man.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's wild.
I
And
always gas out anyway, so to be
no,
honest.
man, don't say that. No, you never. I mean, you've been in some wars, okay? I mean, you fought um, really good competition, not only in the UFC, but I mean, you had Keith Jardine, you had Nate Marquardt, you had Alan Belcher. I mean, you've had several warriors that you fought, and again, um, always fun to see you fight. And I think your first UFC debut was against Keith Jardine, correct? It was like the Ultimate Fighter.
Yes.
I think I just.
Yes, and I think that was and I think that was a setup. Not saying that it was a bad thing, but I think that fight, it was supposed to be a fight for Keith to kind of destroy me,
Yeah.
and is to elevate him a little more, because they're trying to build him up. But I think that was a good fight for me because it really displayed, that I was a very capable fighter at the moment. And I think Joe Silva at that moment, he saw that I had a future. So he signed me a full
Now,
fight deal after
how
that
did
fight.
that come apart? Like, how did you, coming from Brazil, fighting in these fights, and then ending up going into the UFC? Like, Can you walk me through that, like getting into the ultimate, not the Ultimate Fighter, but getting a match with the UFC and how that?
Yeah, so I'll listen. Every question you ask me, I'm gonna tell you how it is
That's
because
what's up, man. That's what I like.
yeah. So look, I watched some podcasts and
Uh-huh.
some guys, some new fighters and some guys telling some crazy stories. Listen, I will tell you how it is. No bullshit, no lies. I'm gonna tell you how it is.
There we go.
Uh, so in my opinion, it's all about who you know. And I just knew the right guy. That's it.
Okay.
Dan Lambert, that's his name. He owns the ATT. He knows everybody of the MMA. He likes me. I think he saw, my potential, my
Mhm.
skills, and he tried to push as hard as he could to give me a shot. And that's how I ended up there. I was always in training, right? I'm not saying that I used to, demolish guys, but I used to do really good on the gym. And
Mhm.
he saw that. And he was trying real hard to make Wilson in the gym to be the Wilson on the cage. And sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't happen.
Mhm.
It is what it is. But he was the one who made it happen, all the way. He was the guy who picked me as
Uh-huh.
a nobody and put me over there. He really helped me and open all the doors for me. He's my guard angel, man. That guy, I love that guy.
That's, what, I respect that the fact that you kind of, you went, hey, this is what it was. I knew someone that knew someone, and that's nothing wrong with that. And I think in America, I think in businesses in general, I think that's how it is everywhere. It's who you know. Unfortunately, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It depends on what spectrum you're at. But what's up? Go ahead.
Another thing that I want to tell you see that as the gym, kept growing, and we have a bunch of, and again, there's nothing against, nobody. But one thing I'll tell you, you don't see loyalty on the fighters like, before. Like, for example, it's absolutely, and I'll tell you this, and this is going to be a report, is absolutely nothing that is going to make ever leave ATT. I was born, and I used to tell my guys, and usually the younger guys, I
Mhm.
was born here and I'll die here. And there's nothing, absolutely, there's no money in the world that'll
Mhm.
buy my loyalty. My loyalty is to this guy called Dan Lambert and the American Top Team. And there's nothing in this world that can offer me $10 million, whatever case may be. I won't sell my soul to the devil, my friend. I'm loyal to one guy, God, and then Dan and the ATT, and that's it. You know, and that's how I am. I don't know if you remember, there was a moment in our history that few guys, guys that I like, and I'm still talking to them, that they left, for a better opportunity, you know, and they left the team, and I'll tell you, Dan, what this guy done for the newer fighters and for this team and for everybody that is involved. Let
Mhm.
me tell you, man, if I will tell you 20%, 10% of what this guy done, you won't believe it. I'm telling you, he is probably one of the greatest guys that I've ever met in my life. Great guy.
Now you were saying about, like, and that's something that, like you said, I don't think the new fighters nowadays, they not they just don't go with like the loyalty. They go kind of, it's different, different fighters, different eras. I mean, back in the day, I think you see them. I think I forgot who I talked to, but you see them, their post fight interview, and they're like, oh, back in the day was, hey, who do you want to fight? And they're like, I'll fight anyone, in front of me. I don't care who. And nowadays it's almost like, hey, I want to pick him because he's ranked and this and that. And there was no ranking back in the day. It's, the best athletes at that time fighting for whatever they needed to fight for. And I think the UFC misses that now. It's just it's almost like a lot of showboating almost, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, a lot of fighters, I'll tell you too, a lot of, I'm not gonna generalize everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
like a good percentage of the fighters, and I don't give a shit if they hate me, but I'll tell you the truth, they're all stupid. They're
Mm-hmm.
very stupid guys. They're very dumb guys. Like, for example, you got a new manager that promise you that they're gonna make you a superstar, they're gonna get you into movies and this. And sometimes you just gotta tell motherfucker, look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
You really think you're gonna be in movies? Come on, man. And they buy that, and
Yeah.
they buy that shit, and they left the gym, and they go to different, agents, and all that promise that, oh, this guy's gonna make me $1 million. Listen, you know how many managers came to me when I was in UFC and offer me, you're gonna be in the movies, you're gonna be, on billboards, you're gonna be, and I said, no, you know what? Thanks, man. You know what? They're full of shit. They want to try to sign you a contract. They can represent you, but there's no loyalty on that.
Yeah.
The moment that the UFC caught you, you're done for them,
You're
bro.
done.
That's it. It's bullshit, dude.
Well, I mean that's good, especially for any young fighters watching or amateur fighters or even starting their careers. I mean, I think it's really good information to hear because not a lot of people will say it, like you said, straight out and stuff. But about American Top Team, okay, like you said you're loyal to American Top Team. Um, he's always say hi, Ian.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, man, he's in every video. Every time I'm interviewing someone, he hears it in the garage. He always
That's
comes.
great. I got 4. So
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I got 2. The other one's in the living room, but this is the one that likes the camera and stuff. Every time he hears it, but
good, man. That's awesome.
Hey, buddy, why don't you go inside, man? Okay? Because I'm on the video. Come on. Okay, you can hang out over here then on the side. Okay? Hey, on the side. About American Top Team, when you first, what are 3 words that kind of describe American Top Team? And can you give me an example of why you chose this gym and why people should, not only pay attention because this is a very well-known, very strong, well-known base gym, but why American Top Team for you?
So for me, it's all about, I was there since day one. I'm not sure if people know that I was there since day one. Right before the American Top Team was created, I was already there training with Dan, with Conan, with Marcelo Silveira, with all those guys, right? When they came up with the idea to create American Top Team, I was already there.
Gotcha.
So I was, so since the beginning. So for me, it's like you watch that baby, become an adult, right? And I saw many newer fighters, coming to our gym, and we made them champions. We had guys that came to our gym with their career completely over, right? Over. And we made them champions. And the same motherfuckers, they left us, because they lost a fight, whatever case may be, whatever personal reason, it is. But one thing I'll tell you, if you come to us, doesn't matter if you are a great fighter or a fighter that it's going to be great in the future, we're going to take care of you. We're going to provide the best we can for you, and we're going to tell you how it is. We're not going to lie to you. And if you're loyal to us, we're going to be loyal to you. And you see like guys like myself and Thiago Alves and some of the old dinosaurs that is still there. Listen, we're there since the beginning. Yeah. And everything that this gym and this team done for us was good. Listen, I cannot tell you one single thing that was like an injustice done to me or nothing, just positive things. It's like obviously, like in any family, you're going to have differences, right? We have guys from Russia to Japan to Brazil to Argentina. We have a bunch of guys training, right, on the contact sport that are always trying to kill each other, but at the same time as a family, right? I think one of the good things that ATT has is a very strong leadership, right? Starting from Dan, which is the owner with Conan. Conan is he's got a very, very, very strong leadership skills. And I'm telling you, man, he leads that team like it's his family, and everybody falls in line. Because if you don't fall in line, man, you find yourself a new home.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I was in Miami, it was mostly ATT. That's again, American Top Team is one of those well-respected well-known gyms all around United States of America, man. So again, shouts out. I haven't heard a name like Thiago Alves in a while. Again, the Pitbull, he's another one that's, I mean, cool guy, cool guy. So talking about the UFC, what was one of your memorable like fights? What's a fight that you will always recall that's kind of one of your best memories in the UFC? It might not even have to be a fight. It could be a situation in the UFC or something. Who knows?
I think I have two great memories. One, it's that my debut when I fought Keith. That was about, I think we were about to go into the third round, and
Mm-hmm.
his face was bloody mess, and everybody was looking like people could not understand what was going on because everybody expected that he was going to destroy me, and his face was all bloody, and I was beating the shit out of him. And until this day, a lot of people think that he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say that. It is what it is. I watched the fight many times. Uh, but many people, still believe that he lost because and I understand I done way more damage on him than he done on me. I took him down. Well, anyway, and that was the one of the first. That was a great memory, and also when I knocked Jason Lambert, uh, because I was in a lot of pressure. Yeah, yeah, it was in a lot of pressure when I fought Jason, and as you can imagine, Jason's a very strong guy. Had a lot of pressure. He came out of a fight that he knocked out Babalu Sobral.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very important fight for his career and for my career. And he applied a lot of pressure in the first round, man. And I remember that I was super tired when I threw that left hook and I caught him. That was that was one
It
of
was
the
awesome,
greatest
man.
moments. That was great.
Now you said you had pressure. Was you mean pressure going into the fight or pressure actually like during the rounds?
So both,
Okay.
right? I remember when I left to go. I went to Belgium for a month before that fight
Okay.
because I was trying to adapt myself to the cold. I remember that fight was a Newcastle, was really cold. So I went to Belgium just to focus on the fight and prepare myself. So I was a month in Belgium,
Mm-hmm.
and then we flew to Newcastle. So when I left my house, I remember I paid my rent,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave my wife like $1,000, and my bank account was completely empty. I was broke, like 100%, like I was super broke. So I knew there was some money coming in, but it's still, I was like, I have to win this
Yeah.
because everybody knows that the UFC pays you, a purse, let's say, if it's 10 and 10, 15, 15, whatever case may be,
Mhm.
you win double if you win the fight. So you have to win.
Yeah.
So I was in tremendous amount of pressure to win the fight because I need the money. Uh, and also the aspect of pressure during the fight because Jason, he was smaller than me, but
Mm-hmm.
he was like a tank. He was built like a tank. And he was incredible shape. He was in incredible shape, and he kept pushing me against the cage.
Mm-hmm.
So for every 2 steps that he was given, I was given 6 steps because I was trying to move around.
Yeah.
So he came with a really good game plan because he put me against that cage, keep that pressure on, and I'll tell you, man, that was I won't say luck because I don't believe in luck, but I was blessed to be able to deliver that that shot and caught him off guard, and because that fight was going really bad for me.
Now, do you feel like you fight better under pressure, or like how does that work, like mental wise? Like you rather have like a lot more pressure on you, and you feel a little bit more dangerous
I
than if
don't
you feel
no,
like
I don't I
more
don't think
relaxed in the
I don't
fight?
think the pressure. Yeah, some guys they like it.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer not to have no pressure. Let's say I think the fights that I performed the best,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I had all my bills paid. I had a little bit of money in the bank, and I was like, let me just go have fun, right? Because the moment that you like, I have to win this somehow, you keep thinking, you have so much negativity in your mind. You keep thinking, oh my God, I can lose this. So now you focus. You don't focus on winning, but you focus not to lose.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, right? And that's a problem. You gotta find a way to think about how you're gonna win, and you keep thinking about how I'm gonna lose, what can lose, you know. And the negativity, I think, it really reflects on the fight.
I think that's the most important thing. Everyone thinks it's like the physical. I think it's the mental, the mental stability in this game that you guys are, the sport that you guys are. I think it's all about mental um, stability. Now, when you're walking towards the octagon, what is your mindset? Where's your mindset at? What are you thinking? Are you just kind of walk through us? Just give me a little example on that.
To me, and again, I'll talk for myself. I don't know what goes to other guys' minds, but in my mind, every time I went to that cage, you almost like a zone out. You don't, you're trying to say hello to the fans, whatever case may be, but your mind is already so focused on the fight, what you do, how you're gonna move, how you're gonna keep your hands up, like little details that, trying to remember how to keep my hands up, trying to stay away from this guy a little bit. Let's try to sweat. Let's try to warm up during the fight, because I'll tell you, after like a minute, minute and a half, once you start sweating, that's how the adrenaline goes, like it disappears. Now you feel a little bit more comfortable. The problem is the first minute and a half, right? But every time I walk out to the cage, you're already in the zone. You just like, you don't feel anything, to be honest.
Gotcha. Who in your career hit the hardest?
Man, it's tough to remember, but let's see. I think Belcher hits really hard, man. That kid, Alan Belcher, he hits really hard. Who else? I did not feel not talking shit about him. He's a nice guy. I like Keith, but I did not feel much pressure on Keith. I noticed the volume. He kept coming, but not much of a pressure or power. But I remember thinking Belcher hits the hardest.
Gotcha. You ever been in a fight? Obviously, it probably happens constantly where you have a game plan, you want to do this, and something gets interrupted, and you have to switch the game plan, maybe from round to round or anything like that. Any example pop up in your mind about that?
Every single fight, brother. Every single fight, everything changes. Like you think it's gonna go one way. And as soon as the bell rings and it's a complete, because think about it, you come up with a game plan, your opponent come up with a game plan, right? So, it's unpredictable. You have no idea how it's going to be. Sometimes you want to take the guy down, and finish in the ground. Sometimes, you just can't do that. When I remember that, I think when I fought Carmelo Mahero, great wrestler, my ultimate goal, it was to prevent the takedowns in the beginning, but I was not planning to kick him a lot. But when I threw the first kick, I noticed that he felt the kick. So automatically I changed my number. Like, let's just keep kicking him. We're gonna keep kicking. And my game plan was completely the opposite, but we had to switch because we saw that he was, he's a good friend of mine. So I can tell that he's got a very fragile, little skinny legs.
Now, do you still have, fighters that you fought that are friends with, or even people like fighters that you still talk to, like in the gym? Like who's in the gym right now, like for your gym?
So I, after I retire, I go to the main gym like once in a while, to see the newer guys. I'll tell you, they pass by us, they don't even recognize you. They don't even know who you are. It's funny, and thank God, because I'm not an ego guy, and I've never been. All my students and my friends and people that know me, they know that. Look, I barely post anything on Instagram. I don't post videos on myself. I'm not that type of guy. Even when I was fighting, I'm not that type of guy that like to promote myself. I like to spend time with my family, my kids and my friends. And if I depend to post a video to make a buck, man, I'll be broke, because it's not my it's not my thing. But The old, I'm friends with the old generation, right? Some of the newer guys, sometimes they see me there, they say hello and everything. Like for example, Jorge Masvidal, he's a superstar.
Yeah.
And I remember when this kid came to the gym the first time, like a little skinny kid from Miami. You
Yep.
know, I feel proud because I saw, his rise.
Bro,
He came
yep.
as a little kid, exactly. He's a superstar. And I feel proud, to see all those, see some of these guys, that made all the way to the top.
Well, that's good, man. Like I said before, um, you've been always a fan favorite of mine. I respect the hell out of you inside the gym. I mean, inside the cage and outside the cage. Always one of the fan favorites. Again, represented American top team to the fullest. I mean, you are the spitting image. You are, what American top team stands for, and you had a hell of a career. And I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate. Times is a valuable thing, and you shared it with me, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. But
The pleasure is mine. No, the pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me on the show.
yeah,
And again, that was an honor. Thank you.
yeah, man. Like always, man. I hope you have a blessed day, you and your family, and keep doing what you're doing in American Top Team, man. Doing a good job, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.